So what I'm going to talk to you about today, what we did for White Glove University, for Host University, is we tried to think about what is it that you need to take away from this. And one of the things we hear all the time from advisors is that they need help, yes, doing presentations. They need help figuring out what topics to do. They need all of the help with the venues and such that we provide for you. We do all of that. But they also just need to understand the whole system. And so what we have done today is built Host University around talking to you about the workshop system, because it doesn't end with the workshop. It doesn't end when you get up on stage and get in front of those leads, does it? Right? So there are a lot of steps in the workshop system that we want to cover today, and we have sourced our resource partners to be here to help you with those pieces. We have sourced our exquisite advisors, so many advisors, our existing hosts, who are going to share with you their best practices, exactly how they're doing this every day. And it's going to be so helpful. So I really want to walk through this with you and just talk to you about what it is that you have to accomplish as a growth-minded advisor. So can I just see, show of hands, this is just basically if you're awake, who is a growth-minded advisor? Anybody? Okay, good. Some people have coffee. That's awesome. Good job, guys. Yes, the growth-minded advisor, you've got a big job. I mean, you've got all this stuff about running a business that you've got to do. You got to stay on top of the market, right? You got to get referrals. You got to find new clients. You have to do all that. You got to keep doing it. You got to repeat. And then you have a bunch of challenges I'm going to show you. I know you know these challenges. We'll just go over them together. And then I want to show you how the workshop system supports all of that. Okay, so just to set the stage today, we want to show how all of this is relevant to all of your business, not just marketing. Okay, so this is what I like to think about as all the stuff that you've got going on. You've got competition. You've got to come up with a whole total wealth management plan. If you don't do that, what are you doing, right? This is your job. This is your day job, right? But on top of all that, you've got compliance, everybody's favorite, compliance. We were having a big conversation at dinner last night about compliance. And I was hearing one advisor who's been doing this for a while and doing some videos and having success explain to another advisor who wants to do videos but goes, oh, I can't. My BD won't let me, right? Compliance. This makes it challenging for a lot of you. We understand that. You've got to always figure out like this customer acquisition cost. If you're doing your numbers, it's hard to figure out how to fit this into your business and make sure you're getting a good return on your investment. We're going to talk to you about the lifetime value of a client and show why it makes sense to use the workshop system with White Glove for that. You've got to be really good at client communication. You're going to hear several of our speakers today talk about how you stay in touch with your clients. It takes so many touches. It takes intelligence. It takes education and information to stay in touch with people in a valuable way so you don't lose them. That's a critical part of your day job too. And, time management. Anybody in here good at time management? Anybody? Do we have any gurus in here who are good at time management? You can reach out and help some of the others, because all of this stuff has to get done in a day, doesn't it? All of it. And you have to make sure that you are always staying personalized, because this is a relationship business. We hear it again and again and again. And if you don't make a good relationship with those clients, you're going to get shut out. You're going to lose them. And we're going to have so many conversations from some of our speakers today to talk about how you can have more effective personalization on top of everything else. So building trust. This has got to be one of the biggest ones. And I can't say enough about the workshop system that helps build trust. I really want us to demonstrate this to you today, because if you are doing workshops, if you're standing in front of a group of people and you're talking to them about the problems that keep them up at night, and you are that warm and friendly educator, guess what you're doing? You are starting to build trust. And that's what we're here for. We want to learn how to do that. If you're just standing up, going through the slides, demonstrating expertise, but you don't get this piece right, your conversions aren't going to be good, folks. We want excellent conversions for you. Whatever conversion rate you have, we want to bring it up. And the building trust piece is going to be a huge piece of it. Building trust, demonstrating value. One of the things that is so hard is showing what you do for a client, right? After all, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a marketing and salesperson. So for me, I'm your target audience. I promise you, I get all the mailers. I've hit that age where my mailbox is full of them. I just love it. So I get invited to steak all the time. And the thing is, I don't understand these financial concepts like you do. And you guys have to be really good at explaining not just financial concepts, but demonstrating your value. I've got some of our resource partners here that I think do such a phenomenal job at helping bridge that gap to show you, if you come into work with me, here's where your financial picture is today, and here's where it's going to be if we work together. And that delta, folks, is your value. That's how you demonstrate value. That's just one way. So we want to make sure that we give you guys some tools to make that demonstration of value better, because this is your day job. You've got to be doing this all the time. If you're not demonstrating this value, then people aren't sure what's happening with their money. You're not going to keep those clients. We want to make sure you do. But on top of it all, you've got to grow. And this is an overused quote, but it's so true. I spoke to a group not too long ago, and it blew my mind. I happened to be in a group of, when I said, who here's a growth-minded advisor? I don't think any of them would have raised their hands. And it's because they're all like, oh yeah, we get referrals. I was like, oh, okay. How's that working for you? They come in all the time, or, and these guys were kind of coasting towards retirement. They were just kind of ready to ride it out. Guess what was happening to the value of their book of business while they were doing that? Any guesses? Plummeting. Yeah. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. You have to continue growing, even as you head towards exit. Okay? If you don't, your business is going to plummet. And that's why you always have to grow. So you always have to be marketing, and you don't want to wind up like this. How do we keep the wheels from falling off the bus? This is what we want to show you at Host University today. We want to teach you that workshop system. We want to teach you all of the pieces. They're the parts that you have to do the heavy lifting as an advisor. They're the parts that White Glove has to do the heavy lifting. Let us be the experts at marketing. You be the experts at advice, okay? That's what we need to do, is to partner together so we make sure that you can continue to grow without having to give up all the other work that you have to do to run your business. I'm curious here today too. This is something that we always do, find out at Host U. How many people have a staff of 3 people or less? Raise your hand. About half the room. Okay. So everything we teach you today is not stuff that you need to have a staff of 20 or 30 to do. We understand what it means to be independent. We understand what it means to have to build this business and run it yourself and do all those things and keep the wheels on the bus. So what we're sharing with you today, don't think this is built for somebody that has a bigger staff than you have, okay? This is built for all of you. This is stuff that all of us can do. This is how we're going to teach it to you today. Okay, so growth requires scale. I was at T3 and I heard Aaron Klein at Nitrogen, formerly Riskalyze, say, we need a growth platform. We've got a CRM that helps us manage people. We've got an asset management platform, helps us manage assets, but we need to do growth at scale. And most of us, especially those with very small staff, are not doing this very well. So if you're going to grow, it's going to require a system. Systems are your friends. Systems help you scale up, okay? So systems save yourself serious time, energy, and money. That's all we're talking about here. We want to give you a repeatable, turnkey approach to getting qualified leads, standing in front of them at a seminar or a webinar, and converting them to prospects, and then converting them to clients. Once you convert them to clients, we've got to keep them. So let's talk about that system. You want to figure out where are these leads coming from, okay? Where are the leads coming from? How am I going to convert them to prospects? And how do I get those prospects to become customers? We are always having to grow. We are always having a funnel. How do we keep this system going? We're going to share with you, and you're going to hear from some of our hosts. One of our hosts, Kurt Stahl, we're going to share in a little bit, built his business. The only marketing he's ever spent is on White Glove workshops. That's it. That's how he does this funnel. That's how he does it all, okay? But he does the whole workshop system because it matches his growth strategy. He knows that he has to keep running that business. And so we're going to go through the 10 steps. I'm going to click through these quickly and you guys can read them. There are 10 steps in the workshop system. Getting in front of an audience at the workshop is number one. It starts there, guys. White Glove does all the work beforehand. You don't see all those steps, but when you step in the front of the room, that's step number one for you. Step number two is a call to action. In your workshop, if you are not doing a call to action saying, book a meeting with me, and you can't just say it like that. That's real salesy. You're going to get some tips on how to say that really well. But if you're not saying that, you're doing it wrong. You're going to book meetings at appointments at the workshop. If you don't ask for them to book on your calendar with that call to action, you're not going to get those appointments right away. Special offer. How many of you have a special offer that if somebody books a meeting and shows up at your office, they get something? Who has a special offer? Excellent. Okay. I hope more of you will have that by the end of this workshop. I hope we'll give you some tools for that because this is something that helps appointment stick rates improve. Booked meetings, absolutely. We want to make sure that's happening at the back of the room before people walk out of the door of your workshop, or we're doing it online for you on your webinars. Our web concierge will help you book those through your calendar link right there in the meeting. We have a lot of different tips for that too. And we were hearing at the dinner last night, a lot of people, has anybody know what I mean when I say the Post-it note method for booking meetings? Yeah? Yep. Okay. We're going to dig into that a little bit more today, but that is a fabulous method. And we found out a whole bunch of people are working and it's really increasing their ratios. So I want to make sure we share more of that with you. You've got to do reminders and fit calls. White Glove helps you out with all this. If you are able to use our call center, we're doing those calls, emails, text messages, making sure that people remember to come to your workshop, making sure people remember come to your appointment, checking in if you're doing assigning homework that they need to bring in, light fit calls, that kind of stuff. Step number 6, you're finally at the appointment, okay? And you know when you're doing a workshop, what's the goal of the workshop? When you're doing a workshop as an educator, what is your goal? Schedule appointments. Praise be, your job at a workshop is to schedule appointments, okay? You want to be that warm and friendly educator? You want to be building that trust and rapport? But by golly, if you forgot to try to schedule appointments, you forgot your job because that's your job. I just coached a first-time workshop host last week, and he was so excited. He was formerly an English teacher, and he was so excited because he came up with this amazing presentation for taxes and retirement that he kind of took some bits and pieces from different presentations, put it together himself, built in this thing called the game of life, the game of life. He made a little money. He passed it out. He made Social Security checks. He passed it out. His audience loved it. He was so pleased with himself. And I said, how many appointments did you get? Like he was so excited. He had the registrations. He had all these people. How many appointments did you get? Mm-hmm. And he was so excited and blah, blah. But how many appointments did you get? He didn't get any. And I said, okay, we're going to work with you because you have to set appointments at the workshop. We're going to figure out what we need to coach you on. We're going to get you hooked up with Frank or one of our other coaches, and you're going to make sure next time that you walk out with appointments. Because he was so excited to be educating, he kind of forgot his number one job, okay? So keep that in mind. That's really important that we get there. The pivot. We have a panel today where we're going to talk about the pivot. I think this is something I hear from advisors a lot that is a real challenge. How do I go from being an educator on Social Security? How do I go from being an educator, like I'm talking all about this, to someone who invites people in and let me manage your wealth? Anybody struggle with that? It's a pivot. That's what we call it, right? It's a pivot. You're going from teaching estate planning or college planning or taxes and retirement or long-term care, and then you want to say, hey, by the way, divest me of all your money and let me manage it for you. How do you do that? We're going to talk about that with you. We're going to have a panel with some expert hosts who will share exactly what's working for them, and I'm super excited for y'all to hear that. Step 8, am I right? Okay, step 8 is where it's at. That's what we want. We want to get that new client. And with the new client, you want to set expectations. You want to make sure that they know what's going to come. How often are you going to communicate? Did you ask them how often they want to hear from you, right? You want to know what sort of things they want, what role do they want you to play in their life. So this is the big step. We all want to get here, but you see there are a bunch of steps before it. And I want to make sure we cover this today at Host University so that we don't overlook some of these, because as you master each one of these steps, you will increase your conversion rates and get more business and keep it. Speaking of keeping it, you have to make sure that you stay in touch. You're going to hear a lot about White Glove's Nurture and Engage program, our conversion campaigns. A lot of our clients are already using these. If you do a workshop with us, conversion campaigns are free for 45 days. That just means we're going to keep dripping on people after your event and try to get them to sign up on your calendar. Why wouldn't you let us do it? We've got a whole call center right here in Birmingham that can do that for you. Let us do that work. Take it off your shoulders so you keep the wheels on the bus. And referrals. What does it take for you to be referable? Well, you got to stay top of mind, right? You've got to stay in touch. Our friends Reminder Media are here. I love these guys. I've been partners with them forever. They talk about, Luke Acree did a presentation at our virtual summit, and he talked about you need a minimum of 24 touch points per year. A minimum. That's table stakes, okay? That's just starting. 2 times a month, okay? How do you do that? How do you do that much for your book of business? Oh, and by the way, you're growing all the time, so you're going to just keep adding more people and more people. It's going to take a system, okay? It's going to take some support for marketing automation, like our Nurture and Engage and conversion campaigns, so that you can do the personalization. Every time you reach out and send that anniversary card, birthday card, whatever it is, that's you doing that personalization that your clients need from you to stay engaged. Every time you do the client loyalty events, the roundtables, the webinars for clients, whatever it is you do, that's the personalization. But to keep clients and get referrals, we want to make sure that you're publishing content out there that demonstrates your thought leadership and that is so easy, somebody can just forward it to somebody else. That's what we want for you, okay? So that's the workshop system. We support you every step of the way. Everything that we're going to be talking about today feeds into that mindset so that you know that you're going to make sure that you are keeping the wheels on the bus and always growing. So the workshop system's highly scalable. That's the point. Instead of having one-on-one meetings one at a time, why not 1 on 30? You're going to answer the same basic questions, right? When you're teaching some basic facts, do it in a scalable way, not one-on-one at a coffee. That is such an expensive use of your time. Get in front of an audience, get that group think going, and you're going to be so much more effective. All right, you're going to differentiate yourself. You're going to get leads anytime you want them and need them. You want leads? Great. Call our EMCs, book a workshop. Guaranteed, we're going to get you leads. They're going to be people that want to hear from you because they're awake at night, searching online. We serve them an ad, and they sign up. That's called a hand raiser, okay? That's not leads that you buy from Smart Asset or anybody else, okay? It's not a cold lead that has no idea why they're on your list. They just happen to fit in a demographic. It's a wonderful way to get in touch with people and start building that trust and that value of the relationship, okay? It's going to let you share a lot of what you do. Like when you do it, you're going to hear so much about estate planning at Host You today and tomorrow. When you do an estate planning workshop, what better way to get your heirs coming in, right? Who's going to get this money transfer, the great wealth transfer? Yeah, the heirs of your current clients? Absolutely. How do you meet up with them? How about doing a workshop? They may come. Again, Kurt Stahl, I'm going to keep picking on him. He said he had a lovely mother-daughter team. The mom was around 75 and the daughter was around 50. I mean, wow. Bringing her right into the workshop. That was great. So he got both of them as clients. How great is that? So one thing that I think is so important too, all of what we're doing here today, as I mentioned, the system, you got to be scalable. You got to have a process that supports you. Everything that we're doing at White Glove that Dean and Mike and Jeff have built around workshops is to optimize that for you to get more conversions out of every step in the 10-step process. Okay, we want to make sure we are taking care of you and taking some of that heavy lifting off of you. All right, great. The leads who haven't booked, if I don't say this, I'll be crazy. How do you feel about no-shows? Anybody here doing workshops with us? Is there anybody here that follows up with the no-shows from your workshop? Please say yes. Oh, good. a little bit of a trick question, again, making sure you're awake. We found out some of our clients were not following up with people who registered but didn't show up for their workshop. We couldn't believe it. We're like, give the leads back. I'll give them to your competitor. Okay. Because these people registered for your workshop because they needed your help. Where are you? Okay. So we want to make sure that you're always tapping into the system that's going to make it easy for you. This is a legacy slide here at White Glove. The left side is all the stuff you as an advisor have to do if you're going it on your own. And the right side is what it looks like if you use us. So we want to make this super easy so you don't have to struggle. I've kind of gone through this already, but I want to make sure that everybody knows the background of our system. We're doing all the work. We're booking the venue. We're researching the venue. We're consulting with you, making sure we find the right location, the right top pocket of wealth that is near you that you want to reach out to. We're going to help advise you on which topic might be good for the audience you want to reach and for the area that you're in. We're going to book the location. We're going to pay the insurance. We're going to make sure they've got the AV set up. We're going to do all that for you. All you have to do is show up, okay? We're going to do all the confirmation calls, the reminders, the emails. And remember, you only pay for the people who show up, right? So that's us doing our job to make sure you come to a full room of people. And then we're going to keep doing it after the event. I mentioned our conversion campaigns. Make sure you ask us about that. We're going to have some sessions on that, and you can talk to your EMCs out at the White Glove booth if you need to. Want to make sure that you are getting the most out of the leads that you have. And we do have the best education. This is Host University. We've got the best coaches. You're going to hear from Brad Gatto. You're going to hear from Frank Maselli. We've got the best folks here to educate you and make sure that you guys are getting what every single bit of education you can. All the best practices that we're learning from Dean and Mike at InvestWise and their team. So this is all meant to give you a way to scale your growth. The workshop system is absolutely key to that. So thank you guys for being here today. We're so excited. I'm going to bring up Dean. He's going to talk to us about attracting the right clients.